Crimson Desert is not an RPG. Crimson Desert is an open-world action-adventure game, emphasis on open world. I want to make this clear because knowing this will affect the way you perceive the game. If you go into this expecting it to be on par with Witcher 3, you will be greatly disappointed because, again, Crimson Desert is not an RPG. I know it's difficult to describe the RPG genre as a whole, as it's not something that is set in stone. It's not like, okay, here it is, this is the exact formula, but it's more of a combination of multiple factors that define an RPG. For example, in an RPG, you have a progression system based on leveling up your character. You'll have areas which are level locked, so progression is more linear. You will have bonuses once you level up. You will gain a set amount of HP, maybe armor, strength, attack, mana, stats like intelligence, dexterity, and so on, which basically make you stronger. In an RPG, if you take on an enemy which is 5 or 10 levels higher than you, you will have a very hard time dealing with that. In Crimson Desert, you do not have this. You do not have levels. You do not need to level up your characters. There are no levels at all. There are no areas of the map which are restricted based on your level. In Crimson Desert, you can take on and explore the map from corner to corner. You can brute force yourself through some enemies or bosses via different ways, be it gear, skills, or consumables. You might even get lucky and just find a random legendary weapon which will give you a big boost and take on the enemies further. In RPGs, gear is usually level restricted. Loot and stats are mostly RNG. You need to reach a certain level to equip a weapon or armor, or you might need to farm it several times so you get the stats that you want. Crimson Desert does not have level requirements for gear, or drastic RNG when it comes to drops for gears and stats. Legendary items are one of a kind. You get them once and that's it. You can equip them right away. And most of them are just found randomly around the world, so you do not need to fight enemies to get them. An RPG usually is heavily driven by story, deep lore, and decision-based interactions with NPCs, which may affect the outcome of the story. Certain characters dying or not, or certain characters trusting you or not, and receiving or not certain quests based on your decisions. While there is a story in Crimson Desert, it's not that deep. Sure, it helps you understand the world, but you don't really have any memorable characters in Crimson Desert. They're okay, but there isn't depth to them. One aspect that Crimson Desert does borrow from RPGs is the gearing system, because you do have items with stats and you can upgrade your equipment. But again, there is no level requirement for that. Basically, there are a lot of little things that when you put them all together, it defines an RPG. And Crimson Desert does not have that many defining characteristics of an RPG. That's why it's an open world action adventure game with huge emphasis on exploration. So if you come at it from a Cyberpunk 77, Witcher 3 or Starfield perspective, like some reviewers did, and I'm talking about IGN here, it's just not right. Starfield is a huge randomly generated world filled with emptiness, while Crimson Desert has a world crafted with distractions and interactions at every step. Witcher 3 has different progression system based on levels, while Crimson Desert is open and free. It's just basically freedom. You can do and tackle on bosses from the first step you got into the world if you want, and you might succeed if you're persistent enough. Cyberpunk 77 is a cinematic-driven experience heavily based on the story, while Crimson Desert is an open-world sandbox exploration game in which the story fills in the gaps about the world so you can understand and traverse the world better. Sure, if you're not a big fan of exploration, the good thing is that you can still play this game in a more linear fashion and just follow the MSQ and do some side missions up to a point and still have some fun, but you will be missing out on a lot of content and you will be disappointed in the end. But I just want to get down to the point of this video and tell you the good parts and the bad parts of the game, because there are a few and it's important to make note of them. So the good parts: amazing graphics and amazing performance. And it seems a bit sad that I didn't hear the major reviewers talking about this, because what they did here, what Pearl Abyss did here, it's an amazing success with how the game looks, how it performs, and the scale of the world entirely. It behaves very well even on lower performing computers. It seems to be performing well on consoles as well, with some tweaking here and there, of course. Overall, the game is just performing amazingly when it comes to the scale of the world. You do have good combos and fighting styles, a lot of diversity in fighting, so you won't get bored when it gets to the action part of the game. You can use different weapons, you have unique weapons, you can wield I think the majority, if not all the weapons with your main character. You don't have restrictions when it comes to that. You can upgrade your weapons to get stronger. You can even transfer skills from one weapon to another and combine them onto a single weapon. So you'll get even more crazy combos. You can go ahead and just fight unarmed and go WWE on your enemies. So there's a lot of variety when it comes to fighting and a lot of combos. It takes up sometimes getting used to that and mastering it, and you also have a lot of skills that go hand in hand with that, so that's a lot of fun. The map, while it's huge, it does not feel empty, contrary to what I hear about people saying that this game feels empty and it has a bad story. While I can agree with the story that it's lacking, very heavy, the emptiness of the game, it's not empty at all. You have things to do at every freaking step. You just need to keep your eyes open and just check around. I cannot emphasize on how many times I try to walk from point A to point B and stopping for hours on and on just between those 2 points, because you will find a random NPC offering you a new quest. You will find either a new puzzle that you're gonna just want to try and figure it out. You're gonna find a secret cave or a secret sort of building that you will want to explore because you might find gear. You will find random enemies that are flying or just coming out of the ground, and you're gonna fight them, or you're gonna run for your life because you don't know what's happening. You will find instances where just the plants or nature kill you and you don't know what's happening. So there's a lot of depth when it comes into exploration. There's not depth into the characters or the story, but the exploration and the world building, it's just immense, and it's far from being empty. You just have to be blind to say the game is empty, and I'm sorry for that, but that's out of all the things this game is, it's not empty. That's for sure. The music also is very good, and it's very fitting to I don't know, the world and the action, so that's a big up for me. And you do have lots of mobility and verticality, so there's no limits to where you can go. You can, if you want to go and climb the highest mountain and peak in the map or in the world, you can totally go and do that. If you see something far away on your map, you can just go there and just climb that. Or yeah, you can jump, you can double jump, you can fly, you can climb. You could use your sword skills to fly basically with the sword skill. You have mounts, you have legendary mounts that help you with the verticality, that help you traversing the map because it's huge. You also have a lot of waypoints to teleport from one point to another. So there's lots of mobility. There's things that will help you go faster, climb faster. You can use your skills to move in different ways. You have special gear that will let you glide on water or move faster. So it's very diverse when it comes to that. You can also, yeah, glide and fly and use trees to catapult yourself further. So there's a lot of mobility when it comes to this game. Now, the bad parts when it comes to the game, because there are bad parts. So we have the UI. The UI is just bad in some regards and kind of janky. So it's not the worst, it's not the best, it's bad, and I don't like how I have to traverse it from menu to menu. The inventory as well, I don't like it. I don't like that I cannot drag and drop items from here and there. I cannot sort them as I want. I cannot put them in storage as I want. So the storage as well, because you didn't have that at the beginning. The majority of this are kind of fixed because they did do improvements for the UI and the movement. It's a bit better, but it's still the same UI, and I still don't like it. I just got used to it. The inventory, well, it's You have more inventory, that's good, but it's not fixed. You still there's still places for quality of life improvements when it comes to the inventory and how you can move items, how you can stack them, you can drag and drop them, you can use, clicking in the inventory, but you cannot do that. It just feels a bit awkward how you control it, and that's my main complaint about it. Storage, yeah, they did add the storage that you have in your camp, so you can just check away your garbage or the things you're hoarding, because you're gonna hoard a lot of stuff if you wanna improve your gear and stuff like that, and a lot of things you collect, or to, you know, put in your house. So that's it doesn't make any sense that you don't have storage. So I'm glad they added that. But yeah, there's still a lot of things that can be done to improve your inventory and storage. You can easily have that and link them with your NPCs when it comes to crafting, when it comes to cooking, when it comes to reinforcement. So it takes the materials directly from your storage and not from your inventory, because it's easily to get a full inventory in a game like this. But yeah, there's still room to be improved there. I'm glad they did some improvement, but there's still a lot of room to be improved. The controls, again, controls are something else. It takes a while to get used to them, and there's a lot of combinations and keystrokes, but that they did improve this a bit. They did add some shortcuts to this. They did make them feel a bit smooth. But there is like an input delay, an input lag on some certain movements with your character. There's some inertia when you move your character to do something and it doesn't stop, and you might end up falling off a cliff, or you want to do a puzzle that involves walking, but the character just moves a bit more awkward and does another step and fucks up your puzzle. So there are some things when it comes to this that's kind of not good. It's okay, you get used to it, but it's not, you know, something that feels 100% natural. So you get used to it. Of course they did some improvements, of course, but again, it's not the best. That just seems like common sense, and you should have those, like pressing I to open your inventory, J for your journal and seeing your quests, because every time you had to go to your journal, you had to press escape and move to the UI, to the menu, which is slow and felt awkward and janky, and yeah, that's just annoying. I'm glad they did those things. They removed part of the annoyance, and I'm glad they're listening to the community and they patched these quite early on. Some of the controls and some of these things are awkward even when it comes to puzzles, because you have a lot of keystrokes and combinations or skills that you need to use during the puzzles, and you need to move some items that are part of the puzzle manually, and if you do not move it in the right way, or because of the controls that feel awkward, you can get frustrated while fixing or doing a puzzle because it's not working fine, and I'm sure you've been through that. But that's just a thing that I guess you have to get used to, unfortunately, because it didn't do like a hard lock on when you do a puzzle. It doesn't like snap in. You have to put it meticulously, hand move it manually to put it in place, and that can be frustrating and annoying at points. So I do agree with that. What else? Difficulty. Well, that's a hard point to talk about, but I'm gonna leave it at the bad parts. The difficulty, it's a very subject matter, because you don't really have difficulty in the game. You cannot make it easy or hardcore, stuff like that. It's just the open world of the game, and you kind of need to judge yourself. Okay, what area is for me? What area is good for me now and what not? I think you can take on most of the map on your own if you want. You can brute force yourself, but you might need some additional skills or spells or stuff like that to take on some items. But when it comes to difficulty to puzzles and bosses, okay, I can see the difficulty in the puzzles because you don't have something directing you to do, or something explaining you how to do it, and that can be frustrating alongside the controls. But they did some things to point you a bit into the right direction, which is okay, fine. The difficulty of the bosses, that's very subjective, because every boss has a weakness and you can fight the bosses in very different ways. So you don't need to brute force your boss like / dodge roll, because every boss has different ways that need to be fought. So that's very subjective, even though in my opinion, they didn't seem that difficult when it comes to the style of the game. They still nerfed some of the bosses, or the majority of them. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't gone through all of it. But yeah, in general, in conclusion, it's a good game. It's far from being a bad game. It's quite a good game. You can have fun with it. You can get lost in it. It has more of a slow burn start until you get into the dynamics of the game and the world and fighting and exploration and everything. It's unfortunately it's very difficult to say in the first 2 hours that you have the window to refund the game if it's worth it or not. That's not enough in my opinion to decide if the game is good enough. So it's difficult to make a purchase based on the 2 hour window you can refund it. In that opinion, I think it's important that games or developers find a way to make a demo for this types of game, or make like an intro prologue where they put you through like a tutorial. This is a puzzle, this is a boss fight, this is a fight with enemies, give you like the majority of the power-ups so you know what you will get at end game or close to end game, and show you like kind of all the mechanics that you will need to go through in like a 1 or 2 hour span. I know that's difficult for a game like this, but at least put you through something more maybe challenging or well-rounded thing of experience of a game in the 2 hours. You had like a quick start with fighting the other black bears, or what was it called at the beginning, but that was very short. That was like 10 minutes. It wasn't even enough to get a grasp of the combat and what else you could do. So I guess if you get like a more in-depth prologue for 1 or 2 hours, it would be easier to get a feel of the game if you would like it or not from that aspect. And that prologue can also be like of a demo of a game. So I don't know. I think there's ways that you can do it better and let gamers decide if they like it or not, or try the game. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And if you're still not convinced if this is worth your money, but you prefer to spend like $50 on skins or a seasonal battle pass on a different game, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you anymore.